Okay. And hailing from the Midwest, he's lean, he's mean, he's a comedy machine. It's William Jenkins.
Valentine's Day show. I'm not big on Valentine's Day, and not in like the miserable single person way. Like, I mean, I am single, I am miserable, but those completely disconnected. But it's an expensive holiday. You know, it's like you gotta get some nice clothes, you gotta go to a fancy dinner, you know, maybe a gift, and on top of all of that, you have to pay the hooker. It's you know, there's always the dating apps, but you know, like making a profile, all the swiping, it's humiliating. It's what it is. Because those apps, they're designed to keep you single. You know, they want to make money off of you and they want to keep you as a user. The only difference between a dating app and a drug dealer is that heroin wouldn't ghost me. I am speaking from experience for the dating apps, not for heroin. Haven't on the list, but haven't tried it yet. But you know, I've tried Tinder, I've tried Hinge, I've tried Uber. And if you think Uber's not a dating app, I promise you, you're just not trying hard enough. Okay? What you gotta do, you order a ride and you set the destination to your place. But you know, let's talk about something a little hotter than my love life. The Winter Olympics are finishing up. And America, honestly, we're not doing all that great. We've only got like 7 golds. So I guess the U.S. is having trouble with the ice here and overseas. Russia was not allowed to compete because between the war and the steroids, why would they? But the Olympic Committee did allow them to send unmanned drones to compete in their skiing. There was some news about curling, Soren. I know you're excited. The Canadian curling team they were caught cheating. So what they did, it was called a double touch. They did like the first push, and then they just stuck out barely by the fingertip and just give it a little extra momentum. And that's not allowed. The Canadian team tried to appeal it, but the argument of it's not cheating, it's just hand stuff. It wasn't really working. The Oscars are coming out in about a month. You guys movie guys?
Yeah.
I love movies. It's been a great year for movies. You know, up for Best Picture, there's Begonia, there's Hamnet, there's one battle after another. But a snub, one they really missed, that in my opinion, critically acclaimed Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Yeah!
That's what I'm talking about. I'm just disappointed in the Academy. But one that is in contention, Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme is about a white guy who desperately tries to get enough money for a trip to Japan. It's a true story inspired by every unemployed male in America. Sinners is another one that's up there. It's the most nominated movie in history. At all. 60 nominations in total. It's crazy. The main characters are twins, played by Michael B. Jordan and Michael C. Jordan. And the plot, it takes place in the South during Prohibition America. And they've got to fight off the KKK and vampires. It's likely to win the award for coolest thing you've ever fucking seen. Let's be real. I give an Oscar to the synopsis. Sinners was made by Warner Bros. And they've had a really great year for movies. They did Sinners, one battle after another, Weapons, Superman. And they've had a great year, box office and commercially, or critically. Which is what makes it really weird that they're up for sale. It's wild, because it's like if the Dodgers, after winning the World Series, said, you know what, let's trade Shohei Ohtani. He's not doing it for us. But they're either going to be bought, it's a bit of a bidding war, by Paramount or Netflix. Now, on one hand, Paramount has donated a ton of money to the Trump campaign. But on the other hand, have you seen season 5 of Stranger Things? It's a lose-lose, let's be real. It's like if your child divorced and you had to pick between your mom, who's probably like a bit too much on Facebook, maybe reads the horoscopes a bit too much, and your dad, who's Ted Bundy. Hey, thank you. You've been a great crowd, except one of you. You know who you are and you know what you did. Buy a drink for a good cause. Follow for more bangers, and good night.